What it do, world?
They feel like you know.
Nothing. It really is something. As an Expedia member, you can save up to 30% when you add a hotel to your flight. So you can have a bit.
Listen, I feel he didn't snitch. I had to take that off. I got done talking about other niggas' cases. That shit don't sound too copacetic to me. But hey, listen, niggas in the hood think I ain't a thug, so I ain't trying to fuck with none of that shit, man.
More money to do even less.
I am mixing vinegar and shit, bro.
Hey, what's up? Monkey PhD here. So, this little machine, this one right here, that I can hold in my hand.
This is my trusty review of MKHD, my nigga Marquez Brownlee. I forgot the B, but his shit, I'm gonna be watching his shit.
Has more power than a base Mac Pro right now. More CPU power anyway.
That's good.
Now, I hope that that's not true for much longer because the Mac Pro is overdue for its Apple Silicon upgrade. But the fact that it's true at all right now is absolutely insane. This little machine is not only super powerful and super efficient and super small, but it's also a really good price. So I said in my last video about the MacBook Pros that the Mac Mini is actually the more interesting machine. And I mean it, it really is. It's just gotten a refresh from the M1 chip that it had before to now having an M2 and an M2 Pro option, both of which are kind of game changers in their own ways. So first, the M2 version, the base M2 Mac Mini, is a game changer because it's all the benefits of the new Apple Silicon stuff, the second generation 5nm process, the blazing fast shared memory, all the optimizations that come with it for a starting price of $599 US. So I mean, it's a pretty simple computer, not even a small tower, just an absolutely tiny computer in there. It's basically the laptop, but without the screen and the keyboard. Only one color, silver, and then a decent selection of ports around the back, along with a small exhaust vent for active cooling and a headphone jack. And so this thing packs a surprisingly enormous power for its size. We've seen this Apple Silicon transition play out over the past 2 years. And when the Mac Mini moved to Apple Silicon from the Intel chips, it took an absolutely hilarious leap up in performance. Some of the numbers on paper are just ridiculous. You'll have to forgive me for using Apple's stupid unlabeled charts, but like, just to give you an idea, this completely changed the nature of the product. So this M1 Mac Mini is already dramatically better than the Intel one for 99% of people, and now the M2 comes along with more cores, a more powerful CPU and GPU, more max memory, and a higher overall performance ceiling, and the price goes down from $699 to $599. Apple almost never lowers the price of the entry level of anything, but that's exactly what's happened here. So we just got a computer that's more powerful and more capable and more efficient for less money. So then we also have the M2 Pro Mac Mini. This is the one that I've been testing and using. And so before we just had the base Apple Silicon M1 Mac Mini, now that's the M2. But we've also now got this Pro chip, which raises the ceiling for Mac Mini performance, still on the same tiny body. Well, actually, I can't say the exact same tiny body because the M2 Pro version also does gain 2 more Thunderbolt ports. So now there's 4 Thunderbolt 4 ports on the back, along with everything else still here. And that means you can now do 3 external displays instead of 2. And you can still option up to 10 gigabit Ethernet if you're blessed with that type of internet connection, or if you're at an institution that will take advantage of the networking capability. And yes, that is HDMI 2.1. But the big deal here with this new chip is the M2 Pro is so much more performant thanks to the updated architecture and the extra cores that it's now benchmarking actually over the M1 Pro and the M1 Max in the CPU department that was in the highest end MacBook Pros before. I had to double take when I first read that because M1 Max has been so incredible. But yet here we are, even the incremental improvements here are notable.
That was clutch.
And on top of that, the thermal advantage potentially of a Mac Mini with active cooling in a taller chassis over a MacBook Pro can also mean, in the long term, sustained CPU performance over time. You may see even better results there. So this thing's performance is rock solid. And then, of course, as you move up in chips from base to Pro to Max, that's actually mostly a GPU improvement. And so M2 Pro does great here too. But as you can see, the results fall sort of more in line. It's an improvement, of course, over the last one, but the Max chips are still the way to go if your applications specifically take advantage of GPU power. But then everyday performance is just, it's going to be the same, which is to say, great. But the sustained multi-core performance ceiling is just way higher, especially for things like video editing or app development, things that have basically longer compile times or render times that might be above what you want to do on the base M2. That's awesome on the M2 Pro.